idea.
So we'll see. But it's great having her, and it's a good learning experience for us.
Well, I'm glad to hear. I'm glad to hear everyone's doing well, and
Yes.
our viewers got to learn a little bit about your family. But let's get political now. You were in the legislature before, took a break, doing it again. What's the main difference here? There has to be a difference, right?
Well, there's a difference because you have different people.
Right.
But the procedure and the process hasn't really changed that much. And it was really an easy fit because even though I've been gone for about 11 years, the committee structure, the rules are all about the same. And it's good. It was an easy transition.
Right.
And I know most of the people up there. It's not that difficult for me because throughout the years, a lot of the same people are there. And I know them whether they're in state agencies or if they're state representatives or they're senators or even in the governor's office or the state agency. I just have known a lot of people. So the transition's been pretty easy. A lot of the procedures are still the same. I know most of the rules. And so it was really a very, very good transition. Even though I'd been gone long, it wasn't so long that you've lost everything.
Right.
So, and it's good, and the atmosphere is very good right now. People are getting along, trying to work together.
A good groove then.
Absolutely.
Good. And I think that you make an excellent point in saying that certain things about the process are still the same. Do you think that's one of the things that, makes Texas America great? Because we have a process that works, right?
Absolutely. And this is what everybody needs to remember is you can make a difference. Don't ever think you can't. The squeaky wheel gets the grease. And I try to do everything I can in our Texas process to let our folks know, please be involved. The more we hear from you, whether it's letter, email, phone call, or personal meeting, it makes a difference. For example, this week as you and I were talking, Joe Flores was there and brought some of the nurses. That is excellent because not only are they educating us on their issues, but they're making an impact because people around the Capitol say, hey, you had Joe and a group of nurses from Corpus Christi. And so it helps me because then when other people have nurse issues, they say, hey, we know you met with the nurses from Corpus. Here are some other folks we need to talk to you. So it's a very good process, but it's very good in the sense that it allows people in Texas to express themselves. You got a great system.
Good. And just so our viewers know, for the sake of transparency, Mr. Joe Flores is also our executive producer, sponsor of the show. And like you said...
And I want to let Joe know if he's watching that. Joe, lobbyists aren't all that bad. I just want to make sure that Joe hears that.
Lovely. He'll get a kick out of it. That's good. Nice sense of humor. Very good.
Well, it's a double edge for Joe.
Well, let's talk a little bit about what happened. You got nurses going up there. What did they want?
Well, they're up there first to educate us on a lot of the nursing issues.
Right, and there's a lot of issues right now, shortage in Texas.
Big time. And the healthcare, we're all living longer right now. And that's a good thing. But when you live longer, there is more of a need for medical, health care, medical and health assistance. It shows that you have a demand for doctors and nurses. The medical profession is becoming a way of life just because we're elongating. So what they were doing was giving us kind of some of their issues, which has to do with nursing shortage, like you said, nursing education, procedures. And so it's very, very good because as medical issues come in as legislators, because we're going to get several thousand bills, by them coming up, I get educated on, hey, they were up here, here's a law that affects them.
Right.
So I can call Joe, I can call his group, get their input on this sort. But no, health care is becoming a big, big issue, and that's because we're staying younger is the best way, and I'm going to tell you, it's a great thing.
Well, you hear that all the time, 30 the new 20, 40 the new 30, people feel good, and that's a good thing.
Absolutely.
But we got to have something to back that up, right?
Absolutely. And see, when you look at South Texas, and really all of Texas, we have things like diabetes, and I'm a diabetic. And I was just diagnosed a couple of years ago. So what it does is it sends a message that we have concerns that we can now make a difference in.
Good.
And I was really glad he and they came up because it helped us a little bit on learning the issues, and then we will follow the issues now as they come up.
And, you know, what's your opinion on forming unions, nurses forming unions? I've been hearing a lot about this because they feel like there's no protection afterward.
Well, I've heard the same thing on doctors, too, because of a lot of what they call managed care and corporate. And to me, it's probably a little early on that right now. And one of the reasons it's early is we don't have a whole bunch left in the session.
Right.
So a lot of these things are going to be hard. But you know, my view is if they do get interested in that, and they need to keep us in the state as well as the citizens plugged in on the advantages and disadvantages, so we know. So we'll follow it and see. And since you brought that up, so everybody knows that's watching, you know, we started January 12th in the legislature, and here we're doing this show, and it's March 13th. And when we go back on Monday, we will only be there till June 1st, so you all of a sudden see how time is going by.
Just flies by.
And so a lot of these issues we won't have the time yet to handle, but it's good to know about it because we will be confronted with it pretty soon.
So that's always a concern because people maybe think that you're not doing something about an issue. It's just that there's no space, no room.
That's exactly.
So how does that work? How do you? Is it better if people tell you as soon as June rolls around, maybe before, or what makes it easier to get something through?
Here's kind of how the process is, because it's a really good question and comment, because here's kind of how the legislature works. We go in, it's the second Tuesday of January every 2 years, and we're supposed to be there 140 days. So what we do is we go in, and generally the first, I would say 30 days is more of orienting, getting used to the rules, getting used to the things. So it takes kind of a transition. So you got the first 30 days kind of goes by. This time, because we have a new Speaker of the House, and his name's Joe Strauss out of San Antonio, which is good. We have a South Texan as one of the top office holders. And his chief of staff is Clyde Alexander, who is from Corpus Christi.
Really?
So we have a Corpus Christi and a South Texan, yes, running the House. But because we have a new transition and we have a new president, which we've had inauguration, we've had a couple of federal holidays, some of the days that we regularly have met have been changed just because of this. So it's taken time out. So we're probably some weeks behind where we regularly. So if you take January 12th, you got about 30 days, which is transition, picking up committees, and then you take in these other factors. Here we are in March, and what everybody needs to know is that even though the session ends June 1st, right around May 1st, rules kick in. So we're looking at about 7 weeks, 6 weeks to pass bills. And so a lot of times it's like you say, we don't meet all year. We just meet really about 5 months every 2 years. And so that's the time period we've got to get things passed. So the answer is, because of the structure, a lot of times things may not pass because we run out of time.
Not because you don't care.
That's correct.
Wow, okay.